Hey guys, welcome back to a video that has been requested many times by lots of people. They want to know the spec of my Supra, as in all the parts I put on it to make it a turbo. Because obviously, as we know, it started off as a naturally aspirated engine. Obviously, this is how I turboed my engine. So keep your eyes peeled. I go for every single part I use. I show video footage, and there's also a link in the description which takes you to the Absolute Modics website, which has a full written spec of the engine in case you want to have a look and see where we've got any of the parts from. So let's crack on with this video. So here we have the beating heart. It's a relatively standard 2JZ GE. The internals are the same except for having the twin turbo head gasket and ARP stud nuts, you know, the head nuts and bolts. Because obviously it's a bit easier when you remove the head, etc. The head was skimmed, and as I said, we put the TT gasket on, which obviously changes the compression ratios, so it means we can up the power output. So here we have the turbo. The turbo is on a T4 flange. It says AR.70 on it. Got no idea what that means. There's no other stampings of what kind of turbo it is. It was sourced from Rocket Dog Racing, who specialises in NAT conversions. They told me it's capable of 600 brake horsepower because that's what they use on their race Supra, but at the moment we're nowhere near that figure because we don't have the rest of the supporting mods for it. It's a nice looking turbo, if I'm honest. At current, you can see we're using the standard fuel rail. The only difference is it's painted black, and the standard 330cc injectors, and obviously the standard fuel regulator. Haven't changed any of this yet, so it kind of limits the power output of this engine to a max of about 380 that some people's had, but realistically talking about 350. Not quite sure if you can see the manifold. Very windy, excuse the wind. So it was out of a 1000 brake NAT pickup truck, so I got this second hand. You can see the thickness of the plate, yeah, where the studs bolt on. This is not the excess power one we originally had for the build, because that wouldn't fit, and I'm quite glad I didn't use it in the end because this is a lot better quality. Like I said, T4 to fit the turbo, and it's got obviously the pipe off it for the wastegate. The downpipe is a 3-inch downpipe, V-clamp off the turbo. There's two lambda sensors down there, single wide lambda sensors, and this is for the air fuel ratio gauge, this one up at the top. As I said, 3-inch downpipe. I got this one from America. I did actually get this from Excess Power, and it fit the turbo perfectly fine. I haven't had to make any adjustments other than a few little dints just to clear the bulkhead. Other than that, it bolts on perfectly fine. Down the bottom there, you can see the 46mm tile rep wastegate. You can just see the clamps and the wastegate coming off to the left. And the wastegate is a 2-inch pipe. And I think you can just see a little bit of purple in the middle of the camera. That's the wastegate at the bottom, which is using a 7 psi spring. It did come with a couple of other springs, but I only want to run 7 psi boost so I don't blow my engine, and that's where that's located. In case you're wondering why you can't see a blow off valve, it's quite simple, we don't have one. That's why we get the really loud turbo chatter. There's a big argument on the net what's good and what's bad. For the sake of 7 psi, I don't really care. It's not really causing any damage because the boost pressure is that low. I don't mind the noise coming back through the turbo because it sounds a lot better and get a lot more choo-choos. So the oil lines were a kit off of eBay, which is never amazing, but it was just to get the thing going. So you can see one of the fitments there onto the turbo. You can see shiny down there. Obviously it connects on to the sump down there somewhere. I think you can see it on the camera. We had to drill the sump for that, so don't forget you'll have to remove your engine out to drill your sump, otherwise you'd end up with lots of little filings inside the sump, which is not good. And same with the oil feed. The oil feed came obviously from the same eBay kit, and it's 36 inches long if anyone wanted to know. That's 4 AN size, and the return is 10 AN size. Now where the oil feed bolts onto, as you can see in the middle of the camera, it is a sandwich plate. So I got that from eBay in about 20 quid. It accepts the 4 AN fitting, and it's also got two more little fittings that you can have, like an oil pressure and oil temperature gauge if need to be. And yeah, I've got a KM filter on it. The vacuum lines are pretty much the standard, but we have an extra one that's been cut and goes into the 3-bar map sensor, which is connected into the ECU, which is inside the car. We have this one here that's been drilled into the side of the throttle body, that goes down to the wastegate, so the wastegate runs an absolute true pressure, and the boost gauge is plumbed in on one of these as well somewhere. In fact, there's two T-pieces there, underneath that pipe, one there and one at the back, and obviously the boost gauge is inside the car as well. The distributor is a Forerunner distributor cap. The rest of it is still the original Supra one. Ignore the damaged plug, as talked about in a different video. That was done by the mechanic who had it. He broke it, so I need to fix that. But it still works currently. Yeah, so it's a Forerunner cap because that allows these plugs to face up and down to try and clear more room for a pipe, like a silicone pipe, and then your filter to go on here. I just currently don't have it on the car at the moment. If you go to the website, I will also list which lead goes to which spark plug, because there is a change round, because this is designed for a V6 engine, you see, and obviously we have an inline 6. So visit absolutemonics.com and you'll be able to have a look under the Project Supra, and it will list which leads you need for what. Also be aware that you'll need to have an additional lead, because one of them is too short, so you have to buy, I think it's another number 3 lead. Always on the website. The air filter is a HKS Mushroom. As you can see, it's just because we got it given with one of the Supras I bought, and that is a 4-inch 45-degree silicone bend, obviously designed to remove, well, not remove, but move the air filter away from the engine. Otherwise it may end up catching things, but the reason why I went for a silicone pipe and not a metal pipe is it allows it to bend a bit around the HT leads, which is nice, otherwise you're going to have issues. So our intercooler, as you can see there with the fangs on it, it's a 3-inch core intercooler. You can just see there a bit of paint coming off because the bottle's been sat on top. You see the pipes down there, and you can't really see this one. Obviously it comes around, comes up and goes onto the bottom of the turbo for one side, and the other one comes up the inner wing and across the top to obviously the throttle body. So it's 3-inch pipe everywhere with 3-inch silicone hoses, with the exception of that one there, which is a 2.5 90-degree bend into 3-inch, because the turbo is slightly smaller. Some people decide to weld one on. I've just got a silicone hose on there for the time being. You can see the ECU just it's been strapped onto the top of the normal ECU because it makes running the wires a lot easier. So this is in the passenger footwell. It's an E-Manage Ultimate, a greedy E-Manage Ultimate, and as I said earlier on, it's got the 3-bar map sensor running into it. It has a base map on it at the moment. So very loosely, I've got a AFR, which is an AEM air fuel ratio gauge, just hanging on the dashboard at the moment because I haven't got a pod to put it in, but it's very important to make sure that I don't overfuel or run too lean. So that was very expensive, it was about 170 quid, but it was a brilliant piece of kit, and I'd recommend anyone that's running a turboed engine to have one of those. In here we have the boost gauge, very cheap, off about 20 quid off of eBay, and does exactly what it says it should. It records obviously how much boost we're running. It never really gets above half a bar because obviously we have that 7 psi spring in the wastegate, and that's all the pressure that it runs. And that is just plumbed in into the vacuum pipes that I've shown you before, and into an ignition live. That's why it lights up. So that's the interior.